Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of HBMs Nuclear Tech Mod. And today, we should be getting that oil setup done. Just give me a few moments to get us started, please. So, we are going to go ahead and do some oil today. That's what we were doing yesterday, oil. Oh shit. Okay, I almost fucked up our tab. Look, I just want to fucking move the tab. Bro, what the fuck? What the fuck? Fucking bullshit, dude. Fucking stupid bullshit. Also, is this tab correctly sized still? Because if it is not, it is a problem. It needs to be scaled down a little bit. Huh? Nice. Today I have Juice Monster, something, blah 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 blah. Mango Loco. Alright. Before we get started, I also have to do this. I gotta open this shit with a spoon because I'm not allowed to have fingernails. Why the fuck do all these taste like ass? They taste like asshole. Straight up, refined, liquid asshole. Disregard. Let's go ahead and continue on with the objective. So, we have to do math today. And we're actually going to do some math probably again regarding the actual numbers. Because, as you all don't know, it requires numbers to do this shit. Pressurized, use compressor. So we have reformate, vacuum light oil is the next one, and then we also have reformate gas, which is, by the definition of useless. However, the light oil is what we're looking into today, and how can I get light oil to actually... We have to explore every facet of vacuum light oil. So vacuum light oil, it seems that you do this process the way you would do it. Get us to reformate gas and kerosene. The first steps of doing that stupid bullshit is literally fractioning. We're going to go ahead and fraction that shit. Because there's no other options using vacuum light oil to do shit like get BTX. We can do the math and figure out later on down the road. But I'm really curious what percentage of oil we send in actually is giving us anything in return. Or in other words, I'm really curious to see whether or not we're getting a significant portion of BTX from oil. Remember that petroleum gas will actually be used to do shit, so keep that in mind. And it also makes sense to say that we're going to turn light oil into aromatic hydrocarbons, because that will be an important step, because you can make petroleum gas into light oil, or something along those lines. It's kind of We'll look into that when we get there. That's a little bit farther down this progression chain, if I have to say that. Pretty much what we can do is recycle stuff into unsaturated hydrocarbons, and then from there we can recycle that to the aromatic hydrocarbons, which we can turn back into, I believe I can turn those into reformant gas. That's what I need to get. But I can also turn shit to light oil, which I can use to turn into those, again, the unsaturated or aromatic hydrocarbons. So this will be my vacuum light oil, because vacuum light oil is stupid. It is the stupidest part of this process. Well, not really. It's actually going to require a lot of brain power to figure out what the fuck this is going to do and how to do it. Because, as you can see, this is going to give me kerosene and reformant gas. 2 items that we can use further down the line. So now we need to get light oil. And I remember light oil to regular... Getting from vacuum to regular light oil is a crucial step to this process. It's like the entire bread and butter of this process is getting the light oil. And you can do it this way, apparently. That might be the way we do it. I don't remember. Actually, that is probably the way we do it. Shit. Or it's taking this kerosene and figuring out what the fuck I can do with kerosene. Well, if we get it to regular light oil, we can start working to BTX from there. Yeah, you can obviously crack it. Trying to figure out what we decided on yesterday is a hard thing, because even if I were to go back and review the footage and be like, oh, this is what we came up with yesterday, guys, it wouldn't work. Reformant gas, which is like the lowest level of product, we can't even turn that back into, well, that is for high performance solvents. That is one thing. Yeah, it's to make high performance solvent. That's what we need to do, though. Oh, but isn't this also used as part of it? Like to make phosgene? Right? Because phosgene, if we look in here, mustard gas, phosgene. Phosgene. No. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that to make hard plastic, you need some phosgene. Yeah, what the fuck is this shit all about? Unsaturated hydrocarbons and chlorine gas. Okay, cool. So that'll be easy, but it's a later task, not a now task. So we have to look into what the fuck we're doing with this now. We do obviously have to make, like, all of this setups and stuff is going to need to make somewhere in here the wonderful, wonderful substance, the aromatic hydrocarbons, and also the high performance solvent, so that way we can run the line that does for the alkylation unit, so we can take aromatic hydrocarbons and turn them down. That'll be a later task, though. We'll get into that in a bit. Hello, I'm back. You called me at the wrong time. Shit. Literally taking the shit of all time. Let's go ahead and get started with all of this again. Like I said, so we just finished this fractioning tower to make the vacuum oil into the components. We need to break down kerosene and obviously figure out what the fuck we're doing with the reformant gas. I already have the answer to that, and it's to make HP solvent. So we have reformant gas figured out, and then we need to figure out how to get chlorine in copious and very abundant quantities. We will need a chlorine pinwheel, probably. And probably some other stupid shit. I do have a chlorine pinwheel on me, but it is for another setup. Okay, so we want a catalytic cracking tower, though. And then for reformant gas, we can figure that out later, because it's not a now type of thing. It doesn't have to have a now. It's literally happening later. It's going to be a later project. And then I believe it goes to alkylation unit from there. Because we're taking petroleum gas and we're going to alkylate it so we can get to unsaturated hydrocarbons and other shit. Aromatic hydrocarbons. Which, because aromatic hydrocarbons are seemingly useless, we're going to turn those, reverse them around, and invert them into what they need to be. And then I can go through and start doing numbers to figure out what percentage yield of the regular oil is being turned into BTX. To see if it's actually, like, good. Because yesterday we did the math to figure out that we're getting like 12.7 per each of these different things that we're running. So like, it's not bad, but it could be a lot better. Could be a lot better because there is well, we weren't even close to finish yet, so that's why it wasn't good. Because if I was close to finish, and I did all the math, we would have a very large number. However, 12.7 is just the sum of the two parts. And yesterday we tried to calculate it out and say that, oh, you get reformant from this, and it gives you 10%. And that is true, it gives you 10% in that configuration. Hold on a second. I gotta re-evaluate my math. So we have 3,500 to 35. Gives you 10% in the coker unit. Whereas the 40 to 60 industrial heating oil through the other process gives you a 7.19% yield. So now we're looking at that's not as good as it could be. Right? Because while this gives me a 4.8% yield, I can continue to run both pieces of the process. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so for industrial oil to naphtha, you get a 60% for the first step, so 0.6 times, and that gave us 24 to then the naphtha being turned into reformant is always 50%, so 0.5 times. And then you get 12 from your 24. So in total, you're, from 40 industrial oil, you get 12 reformant. And then you go down and you have a 4.8% yield. And a total, if you combine it with my 7.19% in the current vacuum heavy oil setup. Now, the only advantage to doing it this way is that you get naphtha from both lines. However, this is not good. Because you see, you can get 10% from the coker unit. Instead of 7.19% total yields. Unless that's wrong. However, if it was just 350 to 35, and then I divide the numbers together, it literally gives you the 10%. Let's figure that out. Because we go straight from the heating oil to the, let's go ahead and check actually if that's even true. Because then I could have 14.8% total. That would be better than what I have currently. So we have a vacuum heavy oil, it goes through all this bullshit. But, hey, we want to, oh shit. Okay, so maybe heavy heating oil. Oh, okay, so that's why it's not what I'm thinking it is. My bad, guys, because I was trying to assess this incorrectly. It's actually, this part is the 3500, but this part is actually the 12.98. It's the main, it's the whole. So if you take the whole and then you turn it into this, then you get 10%. But if you take it and break it into parts, you can get 12.99% or 13% basically. So we have our 13% yield in that, so that's okay. Let me know if you hate math and it hurts your brain, and then I can continue to do more math and just make it even more painful for you. So, vacuum, light oil, kerosene, reformic gas. So our first thing we need to break down is that kerosene. The reformic gas is kind of a not a now thing, so we're gonna figure that out later. Later down in this process, the kerosene comes into play pretty heavily. Now, if I look, that's good. That's fucking good. I like math. I know I'm weird. Oh, I hate math. I actually hate it. I don't even know what I'm doing with math. That's why I hate it. You know, I hate math because I'm bad at it and because nobody taught me correctly. So now when I'm doing math, I have to figure it out, kind of. But I have figured out the correct way to do it. So that's good. I think I figured out the correct way of doing it. I hope I did. Okay, so all that, everything in there is producing reformant gas, a very useless material, which we're going to have to figure out how to deal with in some capacity. I keep reiterating that it's useless. In reality, it's beyond useless. It has fewer uses than uselessness. But it's at least going to eliminate us having to do a whole bunch of extra cracking towers. And yes, we have reformant gas that comes out of here. So this line literally ends now that we have reformant gas being produced in both of these machines. Then we have to figure out the chlorine gas situation. Nice job. Even if you don't like math, you're doing a pretty good job keeping it together in this mod. XDDD. XDD. XD. Nice. Nice. Yeah, the math is very complicated. What do you need the processed or what do you need the processed oil anyways? This oil is gonna go straight into hard plastic. It's going to be a hard plastic production setup with that. All the numbers I'm doing are just to figure out whether or not I'm actually getting much yield from this. Because I figured that, because I haven't done math in the past to figure out whether these setups are actually yielding what I need them to yield, I probably should start doing it now so that way I have the answer to that later. Because I want to know if it's actually worthwhile to run these things, and if I can make them into 100% effective, because you can have a 12.8% yield of BTX, and I figure still be able to have 100% effectiveness, as long as you maintain a high level of, what did I say? High level of operating? I don't know. High level of everything being equal. Everything needs to be equal in the setup, so that way you can maintain the thing running. Like, in other words, all gotta be balanced. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, is the numbers, so I can balance my percentages. And also my... Like, the percentage basically tells me how much I get from my starting material. So I figure, if that tells me that, then I can just take the number and get my yields together. Kerosene. I'm not good at English, so pardon my English. No, that's good. It's fine. Okay, so we have that, and we also have reformant, which is the thing we're actually after, is reformant. So we're getting reformant from here, and we're going to start doing the totals in a bit to figure out what we're actually getting from that. We need to figure out how to take patrol. We already know how to do that. We're going to need an alkylation, a bunch of alkylation units to do this, but... Are you using bedrock oil? Because that thing needed a lot of oil, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we're going to be using a bedrock oil deposit out in this direction. It's not too far away. I think I've already got the fracking tower on it. But I've already set this up, so we're going to have to hook into that. And we're also going to have to make machines there. Then I also have the other oil setup, which also runs bedrock oil. And that's on the other side of things. So it's in, yeah, it's right over there, but connects to like a massive setup over here. Not that big, but it is still. This is the giant thing. This thing is huge. This thing is very complicated too. It kind of has a brain inside of it somehow, but it's basically got a brain. And it's also 2 different oil setups connected to make chemicals, pretty much. The whole purpose is to make shit I need. Like, it produces nitric acid for my Xernox reactors and Purex. And then, speaking of all that stuff, you know, I think it's time for us to go grab some more of the radium fuel and start working on that, because we've kind of been neglecting it, and it's been running. It's been running this entire time, and I've been neglecting to take care of it. Bedrock oil is infinite, so you have unlimited amounts of material when you use them. That is the reason I like them, because I don't have to move my stuff around every time. Put that in there. Then we can run this shit through the process of becoming good. Plutonium 240, it's okay. We'll fix it later. Do we not have like a place for this shit to go? We'll just do there. Just do there for now. I did have automatic storage set up somewhere, but oh wait, that's on the moon. Yeah, we have automatic storage on the moon, but not on Earth. Earth has been neglected because of the space program. We're so behind on what we need to be doing, like, it's unbelievable. Technically, I'm supposed to be making the fusion reactor this weekend, but according to schedule and planning, we are falling behind all of those things, so we're kind of not doing that this weekend. However, we got microchips being made. We just need to get hard plastic made. I don't want to do the fusion reactor without automating stuff, at least. And this is good news, because that is exactly what I needed. I needed that. So that is some good stuff right there. Let's go ahead and grab some more radium and try to empty out enough slots in my inventory so I can carry said radium. I think this is enough slots, I'm going to be honest, but I don't know though. Right, let's find that radium. Where did I put it? It's in here, right here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and make some RA226BE. Nice. 10. These are all going to the research reactor so we can make nuclear fuel. 1, 2, 3, and then we have enough for 2 more to go in there, which is, believe it or not, what I have left. Oh, well, 5. Yeah, it's fine. See, all of this radium is now making the material that is the most expensive to get for me. So then all we have to do from here is start making batteries. We can actually do that now. But this is fun. We can finally make batteries. Which means that oil will never cost more than like a dime. Instead of us throwing so much energy, we're going to get so much energy back. Alright, let's go ahead and start what we need to do next. Don't remember what that's going to be. Believe we need a blender so we can start blending shit together. Now what we could do is we could reform this petroleum gas. However, this is a dumb decision for me to make. Instead, I'm going to take the reformant gas and I'm going to process it. Or the petroleum gas, I'm going to process it via alkylation to unsaturated and regular aromatic hydrocarbons. So that's what's going to happen there. And then with the other thing, I need a blender, so that's going to be easy. Okay, let's make an let's see about petroleum gas to correct what this recipe actually is. So we're making this into light oil. That is not helpful. But this gets you unsaturated hydrocarbons by reforming it. It gets you a little bit of reformant gas, so we might have to make one of these. It also gives you a little bit of liquid hydrogen. I do need that petroleum gas. However, and I got to notice in your vid mostly that you never used blue super radioactive ore. I don't remember its name, but it's made by exploding. Yeah, I haven't used rubidium at all. My entire playthrough, I have not even touched rubidium. I've tried making it, but at this stage, we're currently looking at the fact that my nuclear industry is way behind what it needs to be. My nuclear industry is so far behind where it should be that we don't even have that yet. Usually, we have that very early on. But now, in the current update, we will need to get a particle accelerator, something very advanced and expensive, which already requires things that I don't have, specifically ionic particles, which I would love to have them. So that's why I'm going to be making a fusion reactor at some point in the next couple of weeks, because that will get us to where we need to be, and then we can continue our progress from there. It's kind of, that's the hard part, is just getting a new big machine. It's gonna be painful. God dang it, it requires 8 niobium ingots. Do I even have 8? We're running out of materials. It's the goals are gonna be getting us to the future, getting us advanced. Future-proof and future-advanced. Super advanced civilization right here. And keep in mind, the only reason the nuclear industry is so far behind where it needs to be is because other people wanted me to go to space. So when people want me to go to space, and I can see the fact that I already have everything I need to go to space, then I have to go to space. But fusion reactor could happen. Fusion reactor is like literally on the way. And then after that we have the latch reactor, which I don't know which one order it's supposed to go in. So do you have miners or any guides on how to use them? I always have problems with those. Miners, like drills, or like because my apologies, but this sentence does not sound necessarily super correct. It sounds kind of weird, like sounds like a joke, but I'm guessing you mean mining drill and not actually minors, because so here I have a drill. This is the first part of my setup for mining. It goes down to a bedrock ore deposit. What you do is you have this set up so it hooks into this thing, a slot machine, or slopper, or whatever he calls it. I don't remember. Or actually, it's a bedrock ore separator or something along those lines. Then you have your centrifuges, and I was told to do it this way, but I don't really know if this way I like it. And holy shit, I forgot we even have this here. It's pretty disgusting. We have so much catalytic reformers everywhere. We have 2 here, like 3 there. Now we almost have a setup that contains 3 on its own. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we have 5 of these. You only need 4 centrifuges, which are intermediary between each of these. Intermediary is just, that means like between. Like it's pretty much just to say these are intermediate steps. They go between 2 other steps. So I have 4 of these, and I'm not sure what the 5th one on the end is for, but it isn't connected to anything, so don't include this one. Okay? Only those other 4 matter. So we have 5 of these, and we have 4 of those, and they all connect together with the centrifuges between the acidizers. The acidizers are doing stuff with the materials. First, you have water. In the second one, you have sulfuric acid. In the third one, you have solvent. In the fourth one, you have high-performance solvent. And finally, you have liquid hydrogen in the 5th one. You can tell which ones are the worst to obtain based on which machines have nothing in them. You're welcome. Now, I send all my stuff after a certain stage into this. And I believe it all comes out of this one. So after the sulfuric acid step, everything goes to this guy. And then after the next step, everything goes to another one. Except some of that goes back to this one. So like this step produces stuff for this stage and also a little bit for that stage as well. Then as you continue down the line, the same thing happens with this one, except he produces stuff for all 3 of the stages that we've covered before. So he's got stuff for here, here, and here. And they all have to be sent out and split out. And then these guys, these things run off of aromatic hydrocarbons that I pumped into the bottom. Should they even have it? Yeah, I think they do. So these guys process their shit, goes into acidizers with water, it looks like. Then some of them, it takes it to a centrifuge afterwards. Well, actually, I think all of them take it to a centrifuge afterwards. And from there, for every final step in this process, there is an electrolyzer that I'm using. Because this setup, yes, it seems like it'd be expensive, but they get clogged so fast because I didn't do the math to actually figure what is the best way to set this up. You also have things that produce chlorine in copious quantities too, so if you need that sort of thing, it is available. Now, in this process, sometimes you'll centrifuge out stuff, and it will give you things that you have to craft into things. So, like, here I have diamond powder, but these little fragments have to be crafted or put through a crucible to be cast into those things. As you can see, I have a bunch of different ones here. It's kind of a really complex thing to make. So if you want to learn how to do this, you need to look in any eye as you do each step. It's like what I'm doing with my oil, except way more complex and convoluted. But what I really like about this setup is not necessarily that it produces or that it how complex it is. I like the asbestos it produces is able to be automated. That's just what I currently do with my asbestos, is I automate it through the process and produce it into stuff. But really, we've done so much different automation tasks here. We've literally automated the production of graphite electrodes, by the way. So, look at this. Just tons of graphite electrodes. Can't you make the crucible stuff automatic? It is automatic. It's just really slow because I'm only running it through one thing. Yes, you could probably speed this up. These guys even share one, which is really dumb. Because then this guy's waiting on the bottom one to be empty to actually get its full loadout. I mean, it's just really stupid how I set it up because it takes forever. It takes forever to get one little ingot out. Pairing up giant machines together on the same output. You could do that. You could make the actual output automatic. I'm not going to bother because it doesn't matter that much. It's just a passive source, and I'm not expending those things in such absurd quantities that I can't keep up. But here's like the real chef's kiss right here is what you can get. Because all I need to bring here is asbestos and copper powder. Not asbestos powder though, I use asbestos ingots usually. However, those asbestos ingots go through and they become silicon in this process. Because I make them into blocks, make them into silicon, print them into wafers, and send them out to make the wonderful, wonderful circuits, microchips. That is the whole process I do here with that. You should definitely set up something similar if you play HBM mod, because if you don't, you will not have circuits in such large quantities, and you'll just be making them by hand, and you'll be like, oh, I hate this. Should automate those circuits, because that is the way to go. It's not hard to do, and it's really just a bunch of shit you don't need usually. Because my setup produces so much asbestos that I don't need. So, just keep that in mind. All that asbestos I don't need. I don't need any asbestos. Quite literally need none of that. Okay. You, got it. Do you like the rocket thing that can mine? I think it's called the meteorite miner. It used to be good, but now you have to put it on a Soyuz rocket, so it is not good. Because it's expensive now. So I don't like it now. It used to be nice. You literally launch one in the mod developer's backyard. Okay? That happened one time. I did it. It was me. Like, I actually did it. We were playing on a server together, and I went to the mod developer's backyard, actually launched just a rocket with the miner thing in it to go mining, to conduct space harvesting. However, with James 2H fork, I'm not sure how that looks. It might be different. So, however, I just really don't want to make a Soyuz rocket with the Soyuz rocket launch pad and all of that stupid stuff. So we're going to never do that probably. I wouldn't say never, but I haven't done that in a playthrough for a very long time. The Reformer. It's 12 within 24, by the way. Shell. Yeah, probably that's a good idea. It produces a lot of good resources, though. When I used it back in the day, it was pretty good for producing resources. I'm gonna admit that it was something I never really got to automate, but I did want to automate it, and I just never got to it. Now it's really expensive and I don't want to make it. We're gonna make, real quick, those microchip things. I don't remember how to make these, but I'm assuming it's like this. Ah, look at that. It is like that. Perfect. Some arsenic on my circuits. What's your favorite food? I'm currently asking, just curious. Let me think for a second. Favorite food. Yakisoba. Best food of all time. It's noodles of like beef. It's pretty good. Okay, and then we just need HP solvent. About the thing, what could you get of it, off it? What materials? Pretty sure it brought back like tricksite, which is useful for getting plutonium, star metal, and a bunch of other valuable things. If the asteroid miner is cheap now, we could probably try sending it to space. Look at this shit. It looks fucking expensive, doesn't it? But it might actually be cheap to make. Might be makeable. But look at this. Holy shit. Here's the resources it gets you. Star metal crystals. I can get uranium powder and shit too. Tricksite. Plutonium. Those are pretty high value. The dash was always nice. And it gets those in like, it says 0.5%, but it's bringing back like a lot of those. And this has to be probably strapped to a thing. Probably has to be strapped to a Soyuz rocket, which is not going to happen. This is going to be my reformant, and then this guy is going to be... We're going to take that petroleum gas. What we're probably going to do is take it and make it into unsaturated hydrocarbons, break those down for petroleum gas, and... No, it requires no oil and no energy. So, like, once you have it, you're just getting resources dropped off every 5 seconds. It was really nice because it'd be back like every 5 minutes or like so, and you'd have like 3 of them, and you'd be like, "Damn, getting all of these resources." And you could build that shit so fast if you wanted to. But obviously HBM realized you could build it so fast, and he was like, you shouldn't be building this shit too fast. No more building this shit and launching it at the start of the game. It was expensive though. It was expensive. It just was really easy to make. Even though it was expensive, it was still easy to make. Because if I look, the Soyuz rocket requires the Soyuz launch platform. An absolutely insane and stupid, expensive item. However, this is not that difficult to make, I would say. Probably because I could make it. The control units and the low density elements will be the hard parts. This probably is super expensive on... This is our next goal. We should get a Soyuz. get unlimited resources on Earth. What do you think of this? This would be an actually good goal to have. Control unit. Perfluoromethyl. Another oil setup for us to do. So, yeah, we need to look into that too. Control units. It needs a bunch of those as well. Okay, we'll just start leaving a note somewhere and so I can figure that out. It's not that bad. That doesn't look bad. Okay, I'm just saying he may have put 32 titanium steel shells in there, but that's only 4 times, so you only need 2 stacks of titanium for that rocket already. Which means I could technically start building it right now, if I wanted to. I think I'm gonna try to start building it. Obviously, we can't do the perfluoromethyl, and we don't have what we need for the launch pad right now, but we can do that as well. The Soyuz launch pad is... we're also gonna need fuel, too. So there's that. You used to be able to launch the HTR off of just, like, kerosene. Just kerosene. It was so easy. You didn't even have to put it on a launch pad. You put it on the same one you launched the missiles from. Shit goes into space, and you don't see it again. But we'll have to figure out how to do the whole satellite thing. I haven't done it in years. Literally, at least 2 years since I last did it. I really want to do it, though, because it's like an actual valuable thing. Now, the other thing you need to know is that sometimes shit can explode when they don't land properly. So, that's a fun thing that can happen. Sometimes they won't land properly. Don't worry, because your shit's probably not destroyed. It's probably okay. It's probably fine. They probably just destroy the launch pad, and that's all you need to rebuild. Or the landing pad. So we're going to set up a steel crate over here for my storage of all of the shit that we can make. We're going to begin making those plates. We're going to go ahead and make shells now. So that's 2 stacks of titanium to make my 32 shells. Then what else do I need for the Soyuz? 64 rubber. 44. We might have more somewhere. However, we can actually get more of this. 64 rubber is completed. Alrighty, now we're going to go ahead and figure out the rest of this. 64 solid fuel rocket propellant. Got it. Let's see. 12 small thrusters, 12 medium thrusters, 4 control units, and 32 low density elements. We're going to wait on those. That'll be a bit before I can get started on that. Alright, the question in the satellite stuff, there's something about mining. I remember the connected pad that showed ore deposits around you is really useful, but be brutally honest. There's a satellite that does that. Yes, there is. I believe it's this. Yeah, that one. Survey satellite. Oh, that's not. That wouldn't be that hard. Satellite base. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but to be honest, so if I have to choose, all right, obviously the Soyuz is expensive, right? Do you want to make the Soyuz to launch something that isn't going to passively get you materials? And obviously the other part of that is the neutrino lens. This is really useful shit because this literally gives you X-ray vision. So yes, but then you don't have the capability to passively harvest and collect resources on your own. So that's why I don't like that. That's just my opinion of it. So we need to get stuff into naphtha, right? That's what we need to be focused on, is getting shit to become naphtha too. That's another thing, is that if we can make naphtha, Right, we have naphtha. Can we make more of this? Via any processes. Heating oil, obviously that's a good one. Well, how can I get more heating oil? Nope. Nope. Heating oil. This recipe we're looking for. Wood oil can become heating oil. I think that this is probably one setup where you should definitely do it by the wood oil process. Might be something that we should be doing by wood oil, but we're doing it by regular oil. This is really stupid. Obviously, naphtha makes heating oil. Heavy heating oil. Wood oil, yeah. Pollution hasn't really impacted me. And I'm not sure why. But pollution is pretty important. I don't know how it has not really had much effect on me. So that's what's kind of interesting about it. It's kind of, yes, it definitely can piss off the local creatures, but I don't know if it really does anything. Like, I haven't had it do anything. It does stuff with the glyphids, that's about it. And I know it probably takes a lot for it to accumulate and become a problem, so like I don't really know don't really know why it would if it could become an issue. Petroleum gas. There we go, that gets you liquid hydrogen, which needs to be put back into the machine. So we're just going to dig a pipeline. And we can connect this up under the ground. Boom, 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 boom. What we're gonna do is just cover this up and now connect this with all of my other sources of hydrogen. What is this? Not, okay, it's performant gas. Does this will produce performant gas for sure as well. Just connect. We'll make this connect a little bit farther out. All the hydrogen, though, is really useful for that first step of desulfurization. Because I don't just take my oil and put it straight into my vacuum setup. I'm desulfurizing it first. Hydrogen, liquid hydrogen. Do we produce liquid hydrogen? Yes, we do. And each of these guys is producing liquid hydrogen or oxygen. Can you use, like, the oil block, the regular, mine them, manually place them in a refinery, heat them up? You can place them down and then drill on them. You can put a derrick to harvest them. So instead of just, you can move them. Yeah, you can move them for sure. You also used to be able to put them into a barrel to get oil out, but I don't recommend that. Because if you're going to mine it, you might as well just place it somewhere and then put a derrick on it. So that way you can still harvest it and then continue on from there. Pump, jack, derrick, it doesn't even matter what type you use. Just as long as it's not the fracking tower, because that will just go right through it. It does not care about such simple oil deposits. It might actually work, but it's not energy efficient anyway, and I wouldn't Wouldn't recommend just running a fracking tower on non-bedrock oil deposits. See, bedrock oil cannot be moved because it's bedrock, obviously. It's stuck in the ground. Just laying my pipe down. And I ran out of pipes. I mean, this is good stuff. All I gotta do after this is get a perfluoromethyl set up, and then we have everything we need to start working on soyas. The soyas is the biggest piece of what we're going to be doing in the near and coming future. Oh yeah, it's still got power. Have you ever tried to do HBM's own achievements? Yeah. The mod changes the actual Minecraft achievements as well, so it makes them pretty much impossible to actually progress through because you have to get I think you have to actually do the regular. Well, no. See, the game doesn't register achievements the way it's supposed to, usually. So that's the problem with it, is that even if I wanted to, I couldn't be sure that I'm actually getting them. I probably have done them. I just can't be guaranteeing that I've done them. Because it doesn't do it for me. So, I'd have to go through and be like, alright, I have to redo all of this and redo this and that, because it didn't register the first time. Which is the really annoying part of it. Because I've done a lot of this shit so far. It just hasn't registered. There's some things that are not dependent on others, but a lot of his achievements are dependent on other achievements, which means that you have to do those things before you can do the next thing. And it's kind of more of a guide than necessarily... I don't need a guide. I'm pretty good at this, if it wasn't obvious. This just produces naphtha, petroleum gas, and some other stuff, which is all good and useful to know about. So I can move that petroleum gas somewhere else. That petroleum gas can be used in the refinery, probably. What about HBM bosses? Yeah, I've done that before. In previous playthroughs, we fought against the bosses. But it's not even important anymore. The only thing you get from it is stuff to make, I don't know, different useful things, kinda. They're not super useful, so I don't even bother. So we're gonna have a pipe, right? We're gonna have a storage unit for petroleum gas that connects off of this pipe. We're gonna have a mixer here, so we're gonna get 2 mixers when I go to do this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have 2 mixers, which means I need to make 4 steel plates for each one, and 4 glass panes total, with 2 of those, 2 motors, and finally the high-speed steel ingot for the top. It's like a cherry on top, but it's the highest speed steel ingot on top. We're going to go ahead and grab 2 of these, and we're going to put them inside this crafting table together. 1 here, and 1 here. That will be my mixers pretty much assembled. With those mixers done, I can put them inside the setup, and I can model out how this is going to look, because now we actually have everything for the final stages of getting hard plastic and everything without making the phosgene and other things I need, though. That's the only thing that I haven't covered yet is the phosgene. However, we've covered pretty much all of the stuff that really matters in the setup. So here we have our reformant gas pipeline, which is going to go through here, and it's going to go to here. This is going to make hard plastic. Or, yeah, no, this is making solvents. High-performance solvent, right? So high-performance solvent is mixing reformant gas and chlorine gas. So boom, there's that done. Then we have our industrial mixer here, who is focused on fracking solution made from sulfuric acid and some other stuff. Fracking solution in here. Do you have RBM or something? RBMK reactor? No, but we have a PWR, pressurized water reactor. So that is currently what I'm running. So we're going to do sulfuric acid, petroleum gas. The sulfuric acid comes from here. So do that. So what we're going to measure is how much we have of sulfuric acid, or of fracking of petroleum gas. Because this needs petroleum gas. And obviously, if we have petroleum gas in large quantities, I cannot have that. So if we have an abundance of petroleum gas, we're going to have to measure that out and say, okay, this is no good. So if you want an exact measurement, always use the steel barrel. If you don't want an exact measurement or don't really care, don't worry about it. We're going to grab this steel barrel and steal it for our own personal usages. So this steel barrel will be used for making a measurement system so that I may determine how much is actually in there to figure out whether or not it's worthwhile to keep the thing running or not. We're going to need 2 switches. We should have some laying around somewhere. I mean, in theory, we have them laying around somewhere. Or maybe we don't. We'll figure it out. Oh, here we go. 1, 2. Have you tried like a 100 days challenge? No, but I've done it in supersymmetry. Actually, I was thinking about trying to edit the streams so we could do that, but the thing is that the amount of streams I have and they're so long. Like, we have 40 streams of this at least. If not 100. And each of them spans for a lot of hours. So, that is a little bit ridiculous for me to attempt on my own, at least. So this is going to be for petroleum gas as well. And what this will do is we'll basically scan and say, oh, well, if we have petroleum gas in this quantity, then we are going to do this with it. So the other thing you need is going to be slabs, so you can make a tower that measures. So we're going to make a tower. And then we can measure the signal strength and figure out what we actually are getting. Also, in addition to all of the other stuff, we're going to need to look into where we can apply the alkylation units. So we can recycle different pieces of the puzzle. And I remember, we mentioned the HP solvent is going to be important for recycling pieces. That is going to connect into my aromatic hydrocarbons that we're going to produce when we have too many of the... Basically, this needs to be on by default, right? This setup here needs to run by default. So like if that's full, then we're going to send stuff down a pipeline, and that will be the primary. That'll be the main pipeline then. Is when that's full, it will go down the main pipe. If it's not full, it won't go down any pipe at all. It will just go down and just be stuck in this. Basically, this is to like say that we want to prioritize one thing over the other, because I'd rather have a setup like this where I'd rather have fracking solution than not have it, and it makes the most sense to set up this kind of problem-solving device. So loop our redstone, make it into... Basically, if this has more than a certain amount of fluids, it will need to identify that. You can do that using signal strength of the comparator. If you want to have different amounts, you can measure it that way. Now, 1600 is 100% capacity. So if 1600 is the full capacity, or 1600 basically, you can see that number. That is 100% capacity. And you can measure it in chunks of eighths. No, you measure it in sixteenths, so you can measure 10% at a time. So you'd be like, oh, when it's this percentage full, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50% full. No, it's not 50% necessarily. Just 5 pieces full. 5/16 full. But when it is 8/16, that is 50%. So keep that in mind. The 8/16 is that wonderful percentage. Nice. Cool, we've got that set up. That's gonna just... After that, I think we just coil it down onto the... Or we just do something really stupid that works, but it's not a bad idea. We could just connect it into a... That wouldn't work. Let's just go ahead and do it the way it makes the most sense. That is to have this piece go up to there and then connect into the pipeline. It's easier to bring a pipe up to it than to bring that back down. Nearly half of them have been questions that I feel like I'd be really annoying. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. You can ask me questions. Like nobody else is here. Nobody else asks me questions or anything. I like that. Questions are a good thing to ask. You can learn a lot by asking somebody more knowledgeable questions. Like if you don't have the answer, just ask somebody more knowledgeable. Well, it's one way of thinking of it. Alright, so that will pretty much control how much petroleum gas is going in there. So yeah, if this ever is full, it will send petroleum gas to here, where petroleum gas becomes reformate. Wait a second. Hold on. Did I just see that naphtha through this process? Holy shit. What are we doing with naphtha? What are we doing with... Oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah, that's okay. We're good. Oh, petroleum gas time. We need to make perfluoromethyl as well. This is a lot of stuff to think of. That's for all for the... Because I want to make the actual Soyuz and Soyuz Launchpad. I've never done it before. It'd be an interesting goal. So we now have petroleum gas from here as well. So we have to get all of the petroleum gas from every other setup moved over to there. I figure we're going to have to go 3 blocks under the ground to actually accomplish that task. 3 blocks minimum under the ground. Start putting cobblestone up there. I'll be back in just a second.
Okay. Let's get back to it. We have to put in the roof. Yeah, I'm back. Back now. Where the heck is the hole we entered through? Right here. Perfect. That's gonna be good when I go to align everything. Just right here. Well, I missed it, but now I won't have to align this in the future. Because it's actually not that hard to align pipes. Now, the reason you put in a layer of cobblestone underneath this dirt is because if you don't want it collapsing, you have the pipe too far beneath it. It is good to do this. You don't want this pipe collapsing. Yes, I sneezed, by the way. Then we also need to have that reformate, or the liquid hydrogen go in there. Does this stuff collapse? Yes, it can. The dirt pretty much collapses. When you have a fracking tower, it causes the dirt to collapse eventually. So now all I have to do with all of this stuff, the dirt supporting, or being supported by pipes and cobblestone, is to keep my reformate gas. Now I have unsaturated hydrocarbons now too. Okay, we have the first parts of this process are done. Let's go ahead and give it a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different high-tier oil machines, which is ridiculous. We do need to make the alkylation unit. That is another big oil machine. Pretty high-tier oil machine as well. Petroleum gas is made here, and reformate gas is made there. So every reformate gas needs to be connected. Every petroleum gas, in addition to that, also should be connected to the pipeline somewhere in some capacity. So this is like the world's most complicated spaghetti, if you had to explain it to somebody. We're literally the world's most complicated spaghetti. Each piece, or something like that. Complex spaghetti. Also, this can be gotten rid of because we don't need that anymore. That's really good, actually. So now if I go over to here and I go ahead and set it to reformate gas, go ahead and set that in, and the other pipe is going to be for heavy heating oil, and of course, yes, heating oil. Right, heating oil? It's just regular, what the fuck, regular heating oil. Why not move like all of the processed oil into separate tanks and then cover it in a building, and then wire everything from there? I don't do that usually. I've done it for different setups before. Usually I only reserve those things for like my big setups where I need a lot of storage. Like the watch reactor uses those usually. If it doesn't have like a lot of requirements for storing stuff, I don't usually bother with that type of thing. So where am I looking for the rest of these petroleum gas? Okay, we have petroleum gas there, and petroleum gas can be connected to a pipe here. And we'll just dig around under the ground until we find out where the fuck petroleum gas pipes are. I believe they're on the lower level. So they're a level at my feet, pretty much. And if we just dig in a straight line, we should hit that petroleum gas pipe at some point. And we'll find that out soon enough. Here we go, liquid hydrogen. Which means I can just hit a left and see if there is more. Okay, there we go. We're gonna fill that in with dirt, fill this in with dirt, like all of this in with dirt. This should all be filled in. Start laying in those pipes too. That is petroleum gas, correct? Not unsaturated yet. Petroleum gas. Good, 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 good. Alright, we're gonna just start building these petroleum gas pipes back. And then we can build them up and out. Nice, and it's even lit up now with that nice little torch I installed right before we filled it in. Perfect. Creates a nice little lighting for it. Because building it is annoying, because personally I've used that and even hit the tanks under the ground for 5 hour or 4 cosmetics. I don't really know. I don't like, I don't use those big tanks usually. Usually if I'm going to use tanks, it's going to be the other ones, unless it's expensive. And if it's expensive and it needs huge tanks for valuable materials, such as the watch reactor, that's when I usually do that. I usually don't do that for most things. This also has petroleum gas, by the way. And does this guy also have petroleum? No, he's just the reformant gas, obviously. How the heck does this all have? Oh, this guy doesn't even have reformant gas, and I have him connected. Cool. That's good to know. Just in case he ever produces reformant gas, we have that connection there. Obviously, a lot of this is going to go through and become reformant gas, which is the most useless thing we have currently, is reformant gas. Because quite literally, all you can do with that is send it to here. Do these guys have connections to the hydrogen? That is the next question. Do these have hydrogen connections? This guy doesn't, though. I know he doesn't have a connection to hydrogen, right? Yeah, no hydrogen connection is unacceptable. You need a... Oh, perfect. It runs right under there. It's like I planned it out to go through there. Put in a torch there just to make it all nice and pretty. Underground torching setups. This is reformant. No, this is hydrogen. We already have reformant. Yeah, hydrogen. Liquid hydrogen goes into here. That liquid hydrogen now can go, or comes out of here, pretty much. What's the final product for reformant? That is going to be produced in a lot of areas here. Here we have reformant to aromatic hydrocarbons and BTX. Those are the final materials, is BTX. We have to get more stuff to reformant. So wherever reformant's produced, it needs to be sent to this guy. We're going to move him, though, because that's not going to work where he's currently at. We're just going to start piping shit into another piping setup to get him all of that reformant we're going to be producing. Hopefully producing. I don't actually know if we're producing all of that reformant, but it is a key aspect of the setup to connect that in. So there we go, we have our reformant, aromatic hydrocarbons, and now it's time to start setting up alkylation units for petroleum gas and aromatic hydrocarbons, or unsaturated hydrocarbons and aromatic hydrocarbons. So we have our unsaturated hydrocarbons, correct? These can be alkylated with chloromethane or chlorethane to get you chlorinated benzenes and chloromethane. We don't have chlorethane. They can be also alkylated to aromatic hydrocarbons and petroleum gas. This is aromatic hydrocarbons and petroleum gas. So those are your two options of alkylation, and you can obviously do a little bit of other stuff with these if you wanted to. Unsaturated hydrocarbons and chlorine gas makes phosgene. Key component, and again, this is going to require me to have a sensor that senses when to dump shit. It's going to be kind of interesting, so. But we can set up a sensor system somewhere for this and then have that pipe out and figure out from there. Fun challenge idea: if you were bored or had annoyingly strong defense, like turrets, multi-layered doors, and walls around them, into either one or several cities with with strong turrets, then light everything inside and decorate them. That'd be pretty cool. Like, that's a cool idea for like something you could do. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just building a factory, huge factory. That's what I'm building. I I should have a barrel lying around somewhere. If I don't, I can just make one. What are we processing for this? They're just putting air. They're putting unsaturated hydrocarbons. It's literally, I can do this. I can literally do it without using any expensive materials. Cheap barrel. Dirt cheap plastic barrels, guys. Don't worry, we can put chlorine gas in them. It won't melt them. It's okay, guys. Trust. It's okay. Now grab this. Safe barrel. TM. It is the world's most important, useful material of all time. I'm gonna go over to here. We're gonna go ahead and install this on my unsaturated hydrocarbons line. Right here, I'm gonna do a simple setup to determine if it has too many or not too many, and how that is. So then, what it needs to do is pretty much go all the way over to where there is a. Also, we're gonna make sure that that's not dirt underneath any of those, because that means if I were to go vein mine that shit for some reason, then I'm gonna have a giant mess on my hands. So this will pretty much be how I determine whether it's going to be going to the blender or to the secondary processing unit. Actually, we're going to move this. We're going to flip this around, really. Secondary processing can go out the other way, but unsaturated hydrocarbons, we really need to figure out if they're going in this direction or that direction. Because that direction, we're going to be making all of our chlorine stuff, so... I don't have another mixer on me, and I can't do that right now. Okay. Hey, something I got to notice, I didn't... why you didn't use hemp in early game? I didn't see you making a hemp farm for string. I don't need hemp necessarily. I had, pretty much... had all the string I needed. Just killing spiders and stuff. Like, all I had to do. Yeah, I didn't need to bother with the rest of the stuff. So this is going to control whether the system sends out... and this is going to be 3/16. Okay. We'll just measure it in 16ths from now on to figure out how... simple this math could be. And this will go ahead and take... No, don't connect it like that. This connects on its own. But then at the bottom, we have the redstone piece, which connects into my alkylation unit later on. Nice. So now I can have my unsaturated hydrocarbon pipeline be figured out. Unsaturated hydrocarbons here, and here. This is how we do it. Then the BTX is used with this stuff. Two-step process to make hard plastic, and then we combine those two things, and then it's really easy. It's really easy. Then all we have to do is set up steam production. Set up some more production, and we're done. Like, we're on the way to the finish line. We're just halfway there right now. So, all that's left is gonna be... Oh, I have a fractioning tower in there. Interesting. You sound tired, man? What time is it over there? I'm not tired at all. I just got up. It's like 6:35 in the morning. We need to have... It should be actually... What are we looking at? Oh, I'm getting distracted. Let's see. We have unsaturated. Okay, we need an alkylation unit and a mixer. Okay. So alkylation unit and a mixer will combine together in this process to do some great things. $37. Where's the mixer? Okay, here's the mixer components. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why was I saying 37? That I'm getting distracted. That's what happened. Getting distracted from the important tasks that matter at this time, aka high-speed steel and making motors. I actually think we have motors still. Why am I making 2 mixers? We don't need 2 mixers. Okay, well, I'm getting really distracted then. Something's going horribly wrong. Do we need 2 mixers? Let's go ahead and make 2 just to be safe, actually. Take that back. There's definitely a need for 2 mixers here. We'll see in a second if hard plastic needs one. Because that's what I'm really thinking about, is that hard plastic, I think. Subconsciously, I know that there's a cost of another mixer for that. And I think I have realized this subconsciously, but not actually put it in my mind that there is actually that. Because I haven't verified that information, so it could be true, it could be not true. I'm figuring it's probably the case of it being true. Might as well be safe than sorry. Alkylation time. Alkylation unit's the fun part. So alkylation units right here. This piece of the puzzle is arguably the least expensive, but it's still a piece of the puzzle. I like the puzzle, so we're gonna figure out how to do the puzzle today. I don't remember what it needs. We're gonna go figure that out in a second. I think it needs concrete, some other shit, and some other shit. So it's not that complicated, really. We'll figure it out shortly. Niobium. I think... Okay, so we need stainless steel, obviously. That's the first thing. First major component is the stainless steel. And I should have that in a box over here. Right there. Already knew it was in there. Yeah, don't worry, guys. It was in there. I knew it was in there. It's gonna go here. That's... Oh, it's plates. Do you have a motor farm, or are you just making them by hand? I usually just make them by hand. I haven't gotten a motor farm set up because I don't have what I'm looking for to set that up. I need a specific thing, and I don't have that thing. I need redstone to actually automate that, and I don't have an automatic redstone kind of way of making... I don't have a way of making automatic redstone. I don't have that. So I can't make them in super large quantities yet like I want to, but I do want that. Like, there's so much stuff that I wish I could automate right now, but I just don't have the means to do it, which is kind of annoying. I think it needs these, and I think it also needs shells, but we can get to that in a second. Again, get to it in a second. 44 concrete, which is exactly what we're going to need. This can go into here. This can go into there. These can go into there, and there's no circuits needed. It's just capacitors that I'm missing. Don't worry, because I have tons of them right there. Just borrow those, and then we're on to the 6 steel shells. In other words, you need 24 steel plates to make that. Fuck, where's my steel? Is there even a redstone farm, or is it part of... Yeah, it's literally a part of HBM. I don't actually do anything vanilla. There is a way to do it, but I think I need to go to another planet first, because I think that is how you get the resources for motors. It'd be annoying to do it on another planet, though. I wouldn't want to have to travel there and back every time I want to get my circuits or motors. So I'd have to do it in, like, boxes of, like, oh, I have this steel crate full of motors. I have this steel crate full of motors. Nice. 69 motors. I have a stack of 69 motors ready to go. Nice. Okay, cool. Just let this thing produce its stupid bologna. Making a bologna sandwich. Finish, please. We need this shit. What the heck? Huh. Dual-wielding lever action shotguns. What is this, cod or something? Here's my alkylation unit. This should be like the final, one of the last pieces. I mean, we still have to deal with aromatic hydrocarbons. And this is like the one setup where I'm actually going to do that in any capacity at all. Dang it. We're going to hit F9 and we're going to see that, oh, I need to actually do this correctly so it's not a mess. And I technically could just go all the way to the end. Right? I could totally do that and do it the correct way. Go all the way down to the end of this. And then we're going to have to wire this place. Which is actually the worst part. I did not think through wiring this entire setup. However, now that I'm thinking about it, this is no good. So we're going to do unsaturated hydrocarbons to get aromatic hydrocarbons and petroleum gas. This technically is what you need to make Bakelite, but we're not making Bakelite. We're not the Soviet Union, so we're not going to make Bakelite. We're going to go ahead and send my aromatic hydrocarbons to go do some fun stuff, and my petroleum gas to go do other stuff. Basically, I'm going to have my petroleum gas get recycled. If I don't fall into holes like this one, then maybe I'll have it recycled. Otherwise, I won't. Okay, there's my wonderful natural gas pipeline, and then I should have a aromatic, or should have it somewhere under here. I'm guessing it's right here. Oh, okay, so I have to dig a little farther. Uranium bolognese. The sandwich. Is that a sandwich? Probably is. Okay, cool. Just connect this in. Connect that in and plug that pipe right into there. Nice. And that should be my petroleum gas getting recycled through this horrible process to continuously produce more and more reformant gas, which I don't need. See, as far as the reformant gas yields go, you're probably looking at, like, all of this shit's getting made into reformant gas, mostly. Which is annoying, because only, like, as I said earlier, only 12.7% yield for our BTX goal. Which, the goal of BTX is to have BTX in a large quantity, not 12.8% of the yield is going to BTX. And that is not even from my total oil percentage. It could be a significantly lower amount. However, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a pipe for that aromatic hydrocarbons, and we're going to try to reverse it. We're going to try to reverse the aromatic hydrocarbons back and turn them into the stuff we want, aka petroleum gas and other stuff. So, as long as we can keep taking it and turning it into reformant gas, we can keep doing this process. So reformant gas goes with high performance solvent to make BTX and recycles its chlorine gas. The high performance solvent is made via not dissolved egg, that is a fucking stupid recipe, but via chlorine gas 250 and 750 reformant gas. So you get a little bit back for what it's worth, but it's not the greatest because technically in this recipe you're costing, what is the ratio? Well, 1 to 3. So for every one of these and 3 of these, I have 1 of these. What's your system RAM graphics? Because your game's running smooth AF. Mine runs at like 50 FPS at 4 chunks. Everything optimized. Shift F3 can give us the answer to that. You can now see all of the answers you're looking for, probably. I don't know. I don't know my own specs. What am I, a nerd or something? Jesus, this is a good question. This is, yeah, no, I don't know. It does give you some of the answers. I mean, anyway, I'm gonna close it up now. Gonna close this shift F3. Okay, back to it. Aromatic hydrocarbons, petroleum gas. We have. That's what's gonna be made next. We're taking petroleum, aromatic hydrocarbons is what we need to deal with. It's always aromatic hydrocarbons. Always aromatic hydrocarbons. It's always the thing that comes into the game just to annoy me. Cause me artificial annoyance. We could just send them back to here. No. Because we're going to be mixing the Phos gene. Phos gene. Cool. Which means we're going to need just to have chlorine gas supplies. Hey, I'm not a nerd in F3 stuff either. I only found out you have a shit ton of memory. I mean, somebody asked me to do that one time, just to hit F3 to show them. I don't know my specs. Look, like, everybody asks me what my specs are. I don't know my specs. Please do not ask me what my specs are. This is the one thing I do not like people asking. What are my specs? Just good. They're very good. You don't need to know them. That's all you need to know is that they're good specs, so keep that in mind. Just good specs. Okay, what are we doing? Chlorine gas. So, obviously, we're recycling chlorine gas into this process. What needs to have its own chlorine gas supply and what doesn't? Believe that when we recycle chlorine gas, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensively stupid and annoying. This is where it's mixed at, so this will have its own. This is not where it's mixed at, and we'll see what the recipe looks like. We could probably take the excess chlorine gas you get back because it's producing. How much is it giving you back though? It costs 250. Well, it's giving you back some chlorine gas. It might no. You're losing some. If it costs 250 and it's giving you 100, you've lost 150 per operation. Why does 53 FPS look so smooth, lol? I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm at 3% charge now, so I'll be going. I'll see you around, big man. Take care. See you too. Goodbye. Gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. Okay, so if we're only getting 100 back and it's costing us some, we might as well take the chlorine gas. We're gonna put it into this guy. We're gonna need another unit. Okay, we're gonna need another unit. So we're gonna go make that unit now. Run over here and just make the next unit for processing. Next aromatic hydrocarbon processing unit, or yeah. Clay catalysts. Cool. $12K clay catalysts. Apparently we're out of clay catalysts, which is I should have clay, and I should have iron powder. Obviously, two important pieces to clay catalysts. Or mugs, apparently. Yeah, apparently you can just make mugs straight from clay. 64 mugs. It should take you 2 hours to craft all. Actually, no. It would take you 6 months to craft all of that. So that will be amazing to craft. Trust me. 6 is 24. Remember that it is always going to be 24 because each time it is 4 times. 24 right there. Nice. Now we're going to do shell. Boom. Now I've got that shit done, and we are moving on to the final stage of producing this. Just make it. Just make it. Hurry. I don't have time for this. I want to put it in the line and figure it out from there. Oh, and we haven't even mentioned natural gas, right? Natural gas has its own entire processing chain, by the way. You also need to kiln IRL and need to coat it in glaze and make it dish safe. Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about making the clay pots without even firing them. You don't need to fire them first, okay? Okay, we're just gonna say, because all I was doing was putting clay in here and it gives you 64. It would take you 6 months to make all those clay pots without even firing it or doing anything. Like, it's gonna take forever. Plus the energy expense to even do that. Steve Minecraft, able to make clay mugs in like 30 seconds. 64 clay mugs in 30 seconds, got it? Steve is a crazy man. Absolutely insane guy. Dude Man McGee over here making 64 clay mugs in 5 seconds. Yeah, Steve is built different. They say he can carry the Eiffel Tower in his pocket, but I don't think he can do that. It's not because the French won't let him. It's because he just can't do that. The French would let him take the Eiffel Tower in a heartbeat, trust me. They wouldn't put up any fight. This is... I hate doing terrain because this is annoying. This terrain is stupid. There's a cave and all kinds of stupid shit going on here. So we're going to take those aromatic hydrocarbons, we're going to put them from one to the other. Aromatic hydrocarbons go to this guy, and look at this. He's going to do some stupid shit, but going to give me my BTX. That's what we're after, is BTX. Because this part of the process takes your reformate gas and is supposed to make it into the wonderful substance, BTX. We're going to need to go find some chlorine pinwheels today to make this even a thing as possible. I mean, yes, you could do it via other methods, but we're going to go ahead and walk through all of that with a chlorine pinwheel. We do have one in my inventory, but it's not going to be enough because we need to have 3 of them probably. One for the oil setup over there, one for here, and one for here. So much chlorine gas is really... Actually, that setup over at the far away place is actually fine. It's got chlorine gas in copious quantities, enough to end the world probably, so gotta be careful with that information. This is stupid. I hate filling in shit like this. Well, we're just gonna fill it in partially. It doesn't need to be fully filled in, unless it's gonna be literally collapsing if we don't fill that all in. This cave is fucking stupid. Who put this cave here is dumb. Whoever put it there is annoying. Anyway, I now have my BTX done, which is all I need. Because then all of the BTX can go into a process with the phosgene we produced inside of a alkylation unit. You can get chlor. Fuck that shit. That's stupid. But in a chemical plant, you get your hard plastic that way. And I believe you cannot do that through the mixer. Okay, yes, hard plastic is made in the chem plant. Good thing I already have that done. You should get a mod that you make a bowl and it fits in the hole for you. And it fills in the hole for you. You chuck it. That'd be a great idea. Just make it golf. Call it golf mod. The more you basically hit the ball with a 9-iron, and then it sends the ball flying into the hole, and it creates like a snow layer of golf balls, and you just keep hitting it in until you fill it all the way up. Which is that'd be a little bit stupid in the fact. See, explaining it makes it not as good of a joke, but it's still a good joke. It's a solid joke. We're gonna fill in every divot with 20 golf balls, so that way, eventually, we'll fill in this giant ass cave with golf balls. It can be like one of those ball pits, which were super popular and for something. For streamers or something. I don't even remember what it was. It was some weird shit going on. I lost my train of thought. At this time, I need a chem plant. Give me this shit. Already pre-made, pre-assembled. Hit it into your friends to make their house disappear. Exactly. Exactly. And we'll just put this right here. So this will take my takes high performance solvent in. It's gonna give me my substances out. We can place this right here and it will be fine. Trust me. So that's fine. We have our BTX, which comes out of there. Chlorine gas needs to go into a pipe to be sent to making the other stuff. So this is my BTX. So how much stuff produces reformant? What shit is producing reformant? Okay, well that produces BTX. We have chlorine gas, which could probably get cycled back in, but no. We have to send that back. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna send it all the way over to that setup right here, which is producing phosgene. Yes, it needs chlorine gas. What is the ratio for making phosgene? That's the real question, because if it takes 100, then this setup doesn't need to do much else. It can just quite simply run off of a chlorine pinwheel. And we'll see here, it takes 500 to 500, aka it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're not losing any. We can just send in 100, and 100 will be done. That is exactly what I am looking for. But it will do it in batches of 500. But that's fine, because that means every 5 iterations of this thing running, getting 250 high-performance solvent, then this guy will run. Which means essentially that all of the BTX this guy produces will go and be done correctly. So now it's about piping it through the ground. Where's my Terra drill at? I don't even know. I think I misplaced my Terra drill somewhere. Or pressed Q while I was holding it. And now it's somewhere in an unknown location that I don't know where it's at. This is actually pretty scary because this has never happened before. We're going to have to stop all of our activities and go find this shit before something bad happens. Well, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing that just happened. Hooray, guys. This is awesome. I was holding it, and then I wasn't. This is some poor accountability of our equipment right here. How the heck do we mess this shit up? I was looking at my chemical plants in here. It was over here. It was over here. Retrace my steps, retrace my steps, retrace my steps until I find this shit. Ooh, what is in here? I was thinking, oh, hey, this shit needs to be charged. And, did we move any items into any of these? No, we didn't do that. It's just gotta be on the ground somewhere. Might have ran over here, maybe shit here. No. Shit. This is bad. I had that thing for so long before something bad happened to it. And now finally something bad has happened to it. It's just lying on the ground somewhere. That's what it is. Just laying around on the ground somewhere. Somewhere out of sight, out of mind, laying on the ground somewhere. Or in lava. Could be in that. Could have been thrown in lava. This is really sad, but we're going to just have to live without that item from now on. I mean, we're on our way to bismuth anyway, so that doesn't make a difference. Well, I want to be done today, so I want to get this last piece in. Okay, this piece needs to go into here. Nice. Okay, we've actually got the connection to the right length. That's actually brilliant. That's how it needs to be. Okay, that's where it needs to connect to be able to do this stuff properly. Nice, and that should be my chlorine gas pipe done. That's chlorine gas done, and now with chlorine gas done, it's all about moving items into that right there, which, again, is just a pipeline away. This time we're moving the phosgene to the next setup. Phosgene. Boom. Phosgene to the next setup. Nice. And that should be my hard plastic production pretty much completed here. That's the assembly for the hard plastic. Then we need to get a boiler for all of the catalytic cracking towers, which I'm not doing that today, obviously. I think I've had enough for today. In addition to all of that shit that we need to do, gotta get power to everything. Gotta get the essentials piped over there, and gotta do natural gas, which is a big one that we definitely haven't covered yet here for like what I'm actually setting up. Like, we've covered all of the oil, but we haven't covered the natural gas part because it's a 50% of the process comes in natural gas. It's gonna produce, it's gonna be alkylated or reformed, and that's going to produce its own products. Okay, because natural gas is kind of an interesting and very dynamic, highly dynamic thing that you have a lot of options with. So when you look at natural gas, you have a lot you can do with it. And I think one of the biggest things are probably take natural gas. You can make it through this to get you some sour gas back. That's through hydrotreating. Hydrotreating is the best option for natural gas. It gets you sour gas, which it's obviously a thing that I want to have, especially if I'm trying to get the most bang for my buck. And especially since I have this setup here, we can definitely do a natural gas to oil setup, or natural gas into the other things setup. You just gotta connect the hydrogen connections correctly. Actually, considering how everything is connected, I think this back puts hydrogen and doesn't necessarily, which if it does, then I'm able to send hydrogen that's pretty much already good to go all the way over to here really easily. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to do a little bit of extra work. That's fine by me. What I'm currently looking into is gonna be okay. So now all we have to do is get power to everything and it would be ready to go. So this takes reformant gas and chlorine gas and makes high performance solvent, which that specifically needs over here. So we need to get that over to there as well. Convoluted, complex, and stupidity. Those are the three things going on here right now at this time. So we need to get, before we can do the rest of this, we do need to get my Terra drill back, because that is a very essential item that I've kind of lost. Through some very dubious means, I have lost my Terra drill. I'm assuming it's ended up in some box somewhere or some kind of container and not necessarily on the ground, because I usually do not hit Q. Ever. I do not usually hit Q, so there's no reason for us to have lost the Terra drill. It means it must be somewhere within one of these items I could have put it in. Potentially any of these could have my Terra drill inside of it, and I just don't see it. Making sure to see that it's not in any of those before we move on to start checking boxes at the other place. To make sure that it's not in any of them. There's literally no chance it's in any of these, right? There's no chance that I accidentally placed it in a barrel or something like that. Okay, we're clear. This area we have cleared. We now know that the Terra drill is not there. I do need the Terra drill back, because without it, I am not able to continue making better drills. Finally found my Terra drill. It's kind of better charged than it was. We could recharge this shit. What actually do you need to do to upgrade this to next tier? Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Trick site. It's not hard to produce the next tier, is it? But I'm gonna go now because I have completed my goals for today. Make some serious progress. Do some serious shit and get some serious shit done. Which we're doing pretty well. We have just established our new primary means of hard plastic production and are going to need to make next episode desulfurizer, start working on that natural gas to sour gas and to other components. Really that all comes down to one desulfurizer, and I'm not sure we're putting that. Probably all the way at this end over here. So, I mean, it will be pretty much in line with the rest of the setup over there. We could probably fit it in somewhere in this area, but I don't know how to try to do this. It's pretty dense. Could try right here. This would be a decent spot for it. I mean, yeah, that would actually not be a bad idea. Could definitely try to fit it right there and then just have this a little bit earlier, since this is really just the power coupler. This is going to be connected to the grid. So that's good. I'll see you all.